Welcome to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast, a show for women entrepreneurs who want to build, grow, and lead successful businesses and high-performing teams. I'm your host, Lindsay White, leadership coach and people strategy expert, here to bring you unplugged conversations with a variety of amazing guests who share expert advice and real actionable people strategies for your growing business. Ready to get unplugged? Let's jump in. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I have my friend Krista Smith with me today, and I got to tell you, I found this chick on Instagram, and I fell in love just about immediately. Chris is the founder of Activate Her Awesome, and what she does is she helps women over 40 like you and me navigate the world of social media, particularly Instagram. You definitely want to find her. She's a story brand coach as well. So she really helps those of us that have a real passion for what we do actually translate that message in a way that is really authentic, that is really meaningful, that really attracts the clients that we want to work with. Because, hey, I don't know about you, I'm not interested in being Insta famous. That's not what I'm aiming for. I don't want 100,000 followers. I just want to, really connect with the people I want to work with. That's what Krista does, and she does it so well. She breaks it down. She makes it easy. We're going to talk about that, but first, Krista, thank you for being here. I'm super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Lindsay. I have been looking forward to this for so long and connecting with you in real life, like in person, because it's so fun. Like this platform that we have, Instagram, that allows us to make these wonderful connections, but then we actually get to kind of follow it through and meet in real life. And that's what's super awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah, when you follow someone and you feel like you know this human,
Hmm.
and you really get to know them, that really is the best part. And so we're going to start where we always start on the show, which is, what's your journey to becoming a female founder? Because truth is, I don't think I know this story.
I love this. Okay, so this is going to be really fun for you. Okay,
Okay.
so my background is education. So I was a teacher. I was an elementary school teacher, and when it was time, when I got pregnant and it was time to start my family, I was an all-in kind of girl. So I was all into teaching, and I really looked at what was going on in my life at that time and thought, am I really going to be able to still be all in? And all in as a parent, and all in as a partner, and all in. I also helped my husband. I was married at the time, and I helped him with his business. How was I going to do all three without losing me? And it became really clear really quickly also that at that time, I was seeing where education was going in Canada, and I didn't like the way that teachers were being perceived and the extra responsibilities and the more and more and doing it with less and less. So I took a 2-year leave of absence to, because I didn't want to give up my contract, because at that time they just weren't giving out permanent contracts. And I really, kind of sat with, what do I want to do? And in the end, I did give up my contract. And for a period of time, I did support my husband at the time in his business. And then we really quickly figured out that that was not like, it wasn't that I wasn't good at it. It's that that wasn't my dream. That was
Yeah.
his dream, right? So was I really being fully me in all of my own awesome? No. I was doing what I needed to do to get by. And then overextending myself to be a community volunteer and a school coordinator. I mean, teachers loved me because I actually could come in, volunteer, and know exactly what to do.
Right.
But again, I was allowing all of those things to self-sabotage my, I'm going to say, like, my birthright, like, because I truly believe every woman, every person is put on this planet to figure out how you're supposed to give back.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't living my purpose. So I hired a coach, hired my first coach. It was so scary. And I can remember sitting across from her the first session and looking across going, huh, you get paid $150 an hour to do this. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And kind of like her whole thing, like my goal when working with her was, help me figure out my identity. Who am I now? Who do I want to be? And what do I want to create? And that's where really the seeds were planted for Activate Her Awesome. I didn't know what it was going to be yet, but I
Right.
knew I wanted to do it. The other thing that you need to know about me is that technology has just always been easy. So like you alluded to in the intro, like I was the girl in high school who was going, actually, yeah, it was definitely high school. I was going around to my friends' houses and I was like programming their VCRs to tape the soaps so we could watch them and talk about them after school.
I
Like
love that.
this is analog. Like we're talking, I was able to figure that out then.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
if you wanted to know how old we are, that would give you a fairly decent
exactly.
indication.
Exactly. Right? Like that is who I've always been that person. I was always the tech person at every school I was at, and computers were in their infancy. I mean,
Ah,
I can remember my first job. My first job, it was a grade 2 class and it was at a really small school in my hometown. And I can remember like you can imagine it, like think back to this is like the 90s, right? In the 90s, a gymnasium in an elementary school. What's on the stage? All the gym equipment because they don't want any of the kids to climb all over it. And it's all under tarps, right? Like you can see it, it's behind the curtains. Anyways, this school that I was at, it had this, like the lunchroom, the staff lunchroom was attached to the gymnasium stage. And this one day was really busy in the school. I just thought, okay, I'm going to go on the stage and I'm just going to lift up this little, tarp and I'm just going to pull up what looked like a table. Lindsay, there was a whole classroom of Apple computers under there, and no one knew how to turn them on. My heart
no
just about
way.
exploded out of my. I went to the library, to the card catalog, took out a book on personal computing, and taught myself how to code. And that just started my lifelong journey with technology and
Just
website building.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's true. It's totally true.
Wow. I can totally see that happening, right? Like they
Yeah.
send all these beautiful computers and the teachers are like, but we've had no training. That's
Well,
awesome.
not only, I mean, there was not even internet at that time. I mean, I don't even think the principal's computer would have been networked to
No,
the, like, it
no.
wasn't a thing. It came very quickly, right? Like
Yeah.
that happened, that information age that really, and the internet age really came very quickly after that. And I loved it. I was thriving. So it naturally led when I was working with my coach that I thought I was going to do something with technology. I ended up getting certified as a professional coach through CTI, which was amazing. And I really wanted to do that. But then I realized, oh, I don't like listening to women cry all the time. So I can't do this. But I also didn't want that investment to go to waste. But at the same time, equally as interesting, a lot of my coaching colleagues were saying, you already have a website. Can you do this for me? And I'm like, well, I did it for myself, so I guess I can. And then so that arm of mine, like that marketing arm of my business, kind of like was born out of a need that already existed in the marketplace for me. And I quickly realized, okay, if I'm going to do this professionally, I need to skill up. So
Yeah.
then I just started taking courses and getting accredited in, design and development and graphic design and WordPress and like all of the things. And then that obviously leads into social media because even though your website is probably your most expensive and important marketing tool, because that's where the conversions happen,
Right.
social media are the roads that lead there.
Yeah.
And then, 5 years ago, I got certified as a StoryBrand certified guide. And that just blew my world because that was, for me, the biggest hiccup was women coming to me for web design and development couldn't commit to content. They didn't know, and they didn't feel safe going to a copywriter. Even though I loved the copywriters that I was using, I really felt like, okay, I have to figure out how I can help them.
Yeah.
Even though, of course, I've got, at that point, probably 11 years of experience. I could have probably done it, but there's that, imposter syndrome
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shows up, right? Like we can't do it unless we have the accreditation or the certification or the training or the something. And so that just paved the way. And now I'm here. I'm here today and activate her awesome as my home. And it feels so amazing to know that I'm really living my truth and I'm feeling like I'm living my purpose and I'm helping the people that I'm supposed to help.
I love that. I really love, thank you. Like I said, I didn't know all of that, but it all, like as you were saying it, it makes total sense. And yes, it translates that you feel so comfortable and confident and proud of the work you do. It's very generous. Like all
Thank
of
you.
you need to follow Krista because what she gives is very generous. It is the things, right?
Yeah.
She gives you the real deal. She doesn't hide the last tip, tip number 5 so that it doesn't work. She gives all the things. It's very generous. It's very real. That totally translates. And I love that. I mean, I've been through the story brand work. I've read the
Oh, no
book,
way.
I've done the, oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. My original website was all developed through story brand. And
amazing.
so that work is really powerful. I think it makes it really accessible to translate what you want to do into the right, connecting with the right human. And so, that's not a surprise to me that that would be attractive for you in how you translate. And yeah, matching that up with the right technology and how to use it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
this
really
all
fun
makes
figuring out
sense.
how to like take that, take something as big as, because mostly when people think about StoryBrand, they think about their website. And I mean, it's really all about clarifying your message so that you can connect with the right people and making sure that you're not the hero of
Yeah.
the journey, that your customer is the hero of the story. And sometimes that can feel really hard for people to kind of make that switch, but it's been really rewarding to support so many women and kind of figuring out how to do that in a way that allows you to allow social media, which is basically free media, to attract people to
Yeah.
you. That's the challenge. And I'm loving it.
And it is the challenge. I think for so many of us, I mean, I'm going to speak for myself, but I got a beautiful network and I work with female founders, right? That's the work I do. And so I hear it from the women I work with and the women that I surround myself with that the social media piece is the tricky, right? These are all highly skilled, highly educated, just like us, really passionate, really professional, do great work and do it with passion, but actually translating that into an online space in a way that still is authentic and meaningful. It's
Yeah.
not, you don't feel like a sellout. You don't feel like a weirdo. You don't feel like you're competing with these, influencers. We're not
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? We're
You know,
not,
and
we
I
don't
think,
want to be.
yeah, absolutely. And if I could give you two, if I can give your
Oh, yeah.
audience listening two big tips around how to do that.
Mhm.
And I know the first thing that there's two things that stop most high achievers. Number one is perfectionism.
Yes.
So they agonize over every pixel of the photo or every moment of the video, or every word that they're going to say. And here's what I want to tell you: your people are waiting for you, and posted is better than perfect. So get your message out there sooner rather than later, because when you launch something and then you feel womp, 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 why aren't people excited? It's because they haven't heard from you enough. And the second biggest tip, and this is the other biggest thing that prevents most of the women who are high, even if you're not a high achiever, even if you're just
Oh,
trying to figure out what's wrong,
yeah.
the other thing that stops you is you overcomplicate it. So
Yeah.
what we do is we put something out there on social media and it doesn't work. And we're like, oh, darn, that's not going to work. On to the next thing. And
Yeah.
then they switch. And then you keep changing. You move the goalpost. Your
Yeah.
followers can't follow along. You really do need that consistent message. And if it doesn't fly the first time, it doesn't mean that it didn't work. You don't have to create more. Just keep honing in on that one thing that you know is going to make the difference for people, and that will change the game for you.
Yeah, I thank you. And those are really cool tips to share because I do think, I mean, a lot of the work that I do is with female founders and that saboteur conversation. Call it the imposter syndrome, call it the head trash, call it the gremlin. It is that conversation in your own head that says you're not good enough,
Yeah,
right? That's where the perfectionism comes from. That's where the hyper achieving comes from, right? We can't celebrate our wins. We got to get back. Like
yeah,
that's where the controller comes from. Like all of that, that trash talk that we really do in our own brain. And it especially is magnified, I think, in the social media space, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so I love that. Posted is better than perfect. That's a beautiful way to describe it. And then just keep delivering.
yeah.
I mean, I know what I've learned. I'm not an expert, but like only like a small percentage of your followers ever see your content
Oh
every day.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it's like two out of three followers, two out of three no, it's three out of five followers see everything you post. Okay, that's everything. 4 to 5 followers are never going to remember that they saw it last week.
Yeah.
And zero of your new followers have ever seen it again. Repeat your message.
Yeah.
repeat your message, repeat your message. That's the answer to really growing,
Yeah.
having a singular message and keep delivering that over and over again. Now, there are some people who are listening who are probably saying, okay, but I do so many different things. Okay, here's the answer to that one. Do it in seasons. So you are now in a season of sales for this offer. That's your message. Then when you move into a different season and you're doing something different, then you're in a different season of offer. That is your message. But you will confuse people and they will not resonate with your message if you're all over the map.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we sort of pick monthly themes and
Yeah.
we roll with that particular topic through the month. And that doesn't mean that if we're talking about leadership, that we're not talking about, leading from within, like what's your
Yeah.
authentic style, how that's grounded in your values, how leadership and executive presence, how you lead on a daily basis in your business, how you lead in your performance. Like, right, there's variations on the theme. But pick a
Yes.
theme and just go with it for a month. That's what we've sort of decided to do. It seems to be a whole lot more effective. And the truth is, for me, it's a whole lot easier because then
Yeah.
I just talk about that thing and you got to talk about it until you're almost sick of hearing your own voice. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love these. Again, you're so generous and you give us always actionable things to do, pieces we can focus on. They're simple. I love it. That's why I love being in your orbit because I think it can feel really complex and complicated and like you
Oh,
just
and we love to make it complicated, right? Like we
yeah.
love to overthink it and overcomplicate it. So it's easy for us to go there. Yeah, you just need to dial. When you feel yourself doing that, just give yourself a break. Just step back and
Yeah,
go, I'm making this harder on myself than it needs to be. And it really doesn't need to be hard when you find your message.
I love that. You know what? And thank you for validating something that I consciously had to do this summer. I've been struggling with some health issues. Like many of us, I'm in the state menopause stage that has affected yeah,
You
you're
see my
nodding.
fan turn on earlier?
Right?
Yeah,
And so I've really not felt well. I've just not felt myself.
yeah,
And I actively had to step away from being super present on social. We've kept the lights on. I think we're still delivering a great message, but I'm not on video the way I was earlier this year.
yeah,
And it felt it's been the right thing to do, but you always feel like, oh, like, is this gonna, and you know what? It's okay. It
it's
is
okay.
okay if you just need to set it down for a bit. You need to take a social vacation.
Yeah,
Like, shut your phone off.
yeah,
Just turn it off, set it down, walk away, and do that for a day, a week, or a month. Like,
yeah.
you need permission. So thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
validating me.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. And for anybody who's listening who that's happening to again, like at any point, here's another pro tip that you can do. Go back 6 months ago. See
yeah,
what you posted 6 months ago, download it and repost it. Not kidding. And the
yeah.
easiest way to do that is you don't have to be on video. You can just take the B-roll, take the same message that you put it, slap on that with a trending audio, boom, done, Bob's your uncle, out the door, and then and you don't have to do it yourself. You can hire somebody. You
Hire
can hire an
someone.
intern, a student. You don't, if you already have an assistant, amazing, give it to them to do it. So your account doesn't have to go totally dark and dead, and you can still keep the lights on in a way that makes you feel like, okay, I'm not going to have to come back. And because, like you, I had an incredible health challenge. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact, to be perfectly candid, we had to reschedule
yeah.
this podcast interview, bumped it out a couple of weeks because I drove my daughter. I moved her from one side of the country to the other and got incredibly, incredibly sick with a terrible sinus infection. You can probably still hear it in my voice. And I had to go I had nothing. I didn't even have energy. I first of all, it was coming out of everywhere. I couldn't see clearly. I couldn't see a screen. Like no, like that it was like literally coming out of my eyes and my ears and like just like it's mucus and it's gross and it's
Oh, nasty. That's so
and
nasty.
it's true, but it was true. So, and I had to go completely dark. I do wish, and I will share this going back, that I had the foresight to do the suggestion that I just did. Like that, I realized that after the fact, like because I'll tell you what, when I did start to re-engage, like my views are nowhere near what they were like before I was sick. So now it's coming back slowly and I'm
Yeah.
building the algorithm back up again. But when you go completely dark, like I guess the advice would be, if you're going completely dark, try to be at least consistent in that darkness. So if you're going to post once a week, post once a week. At least that keeps you relevant and real, because the staggering honesty is that I had like 100 views on my first couple of reels that I posted after I came back. I am not used to that anymore.
No, no, of course not. Well, and I think, I mean, there's lots of tools that you can use so that if you do feel like you need a break, you can just do some, like you said, real simple things,
Post,
plan it
post.
out and say, okay, and now I'm going to take like a digital diet for 2 weeks, but I got 3 posts a week going. I just 6 things. That's all you need. Like you don't have to post even every,
No,
but
no,
just,
and it doesn't have to be you. Like,
no.
slap a picture, a professional
Yeah.
headshot of
Yeah.
you, or
Do a
something
couple
relevant that to
quotes,
your
right?
audience. Exactly. It doesn't, I think we've become so dependent on reels and video because we know how much it connects. And we feel like if we can't do that, oh, I'm not going to do anything. The reality is you can use Canva, you can use stock video, you can use, there's so many other things that you can use, and you can ask a friend. If you don't have the money to invest in it for whatever reason, phone a friend. A friend will do it for you, because if you know another business owner or another female founder,
Yeah.
she gets it too.
Yeah.
And you can have her
Yeah.
back
I love
when that
that.
happens.
Or
Yeah.
ask your teenager. They're probably
Yes.
better at it than you are.
Yeah.
But yes, I love it. Phone a friend, right? Ask for help. And
Oh, that's hard. Asking for help is hard for a
yes,
lot of female founders. We're used to doing it all, managing it all, and we think nobody else can do it like us. So asking for help is really hard. But in those moments, you want, just remember the one woman that needs to continue to hear your voice. And if you go completely dark and completely silent and don't give her anything, she's never going to know that you're there to help her.
yeah, yeah. I really love that. I really love that because I think that's what keeps us all going is that we know there are
Yeah.
people out there, there are other women and business owners out there that actually need what we have because we are all smart and talented and experienced.
And they're
Um,
probably working with someone else who's less qualified, charging them probably 4 times as
Double.
much,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Easily. And they're not getting anywhere the results that they could get if they could just hear who you are and what you're all about.
yeah. I think that's really key. Um, I want to that is all awesome advice. I want to switch gears. I want to talk about you
Mm.
as a female founder and your business because you've really been growing in the last,
Yeah.
couple of years. Tell us about what it's like to lead in that space. What are you doing? What are you coming up against? What are you bumping into?
So, I would say the biggest thing that I'm bumping up into is not understanding the capacity and the growth rate that I'm going at and how much support I actually do need. And I'm going
Mm.
to give you a really tangible example. Um, in November of last year, I ran a free challenge on Instagram,
Yeah.
and that's what successfully launched my own digital products. Okay. And like soared to 10,000, like easily 10,000 months, which is insane to me when I think about that, that it was that. And I brought about, I think it was about, in the end, 600 and almost 700 women who joined that challenge. But you know what it's like when you do a live training? You get like, I don't know, 20, 25 people on Zoom. Anyway, in June of this year, I decided to do an email marketing one. I had been wanting to do email marketing for so long because I personally believe that the goal of your social media should be to get everybody on an email list,
Yeah, yeah.
because you own that 100%. You don't
Yeah,
own Instagram. And like we said earlier, 3 out of 5 people aren't even seeing all your stuff.
100%.
So they will see 100% of what you put in email. But I've hesitated to do it for a few reasons. Firstly, the email marketing platform that I loved and used didn't have a free tier. I knew that was going to be important for a lot of my clients.
Yes.
And the second reason is because they also required a business email address, and a lot of my people may not have a website yet. So a
Yeah.
domain-based email was going to be a hindrance.
Right.
Anyways, the email marketing provider that I love and use, it's called ConvertKit,
Mm.
and they offered a free tier and you could use a Gmail address. And I was like, game on, girl, let's go. So, but I did it in June, at the end of June, in summer. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
about the rest of the world, but in Canada, everybody, we don't get a whole lot
We're
of sun.
all gone.
Yeah. So
We don't get a
everybody I
long summer
got,
up here, so we're
right?
all gone for June,
Yeah.
July and August. Like,
Yeah. So I thought, oh my God, what am I doing? But I thought, no, I'm doing it anyway. Like they've come up with this free program. I've got energy. I wanted to launch a monthly membership. I'm just going to do it. And I think the first day I had 183 sign up. So coming to the call the first day, I was like, okay, I'm going to have like 3 people. This is going to be great. Oh My goodness, did I ever underestimate the power of my audience? I felt like I was doing a story brand live stream. I
Oh,
had 3 screens of Zoom people. They all showed up.
wow.
I was so overwhelmed. I was trying to let people in, do the train, like, I had no idea. So when you say, like, "What are you coming up against?" I didn't understand the power of community that I had been building,
Yeah,
and that I needed at least 2 other people on that call to support me.
yeah,
So that was, I would say that was kind of like the first big thing that and it's continuing to grow like that. Like, I've realized, like, now I have 3 team members.
yeah,
Whereas at that time I had maybe kind of 1 part-time.
yeah,
When you grow and you're not really, and you do it, like, I think,
yeah.
you said it so well, like, I'm so generous with my content. That comes back to you in spades when you do
Sure it
that.
does.
And
Yeah,
I wasn't understanding, "Oh my gosh, they're all gonna show up for me," like,
yeah,
holy smokes. And then it came to the end of the week, so then I'm, 5-day challenge, and again, I'm very generous with my content always. So I was giving, giving, giving the whole week. I didn't even have time to get the sales page together. The end of the week, they were saying to me, "Krista, like, what's the thing? Like, tell us." And I'm like, "Guys, I don't have it." Like, I can they literally bought off of, they like 39 women that day. I just put a link and said, "Here's the checkout. I don't have a sales page. I've got nothing." They bought, like, on the spot. I was just like, "Oh, what is this life?"
yeah.
So, yeah, I would say, knowing that I'm growing bigger and need more support than I realized that I did is probably the biggest thing that I'm coming up. And it's an evolution. It's a constant trying to figure out, what is that? Who do I need? What is that? Who are the team people that I need in place?
You know what? And you're not alone. I mean, I work with women every day that are in that position. I mean, yours grew very organically. I actually really love that. And I think for many women, it actually is kind of a holy shit moment, if you will, right? Like, oh my
Oh, so I
God, look
was
at all
here.
these people.
Yeah.
This thing is growing beyond what I imagined that it would. I
Mm.
think because so many of us do underestimate what
Oh,
our qualifications, our capabilities of, okay? And then it starts to grow and then yeah, we're like, "Oh my gosh." And what I do, I mean a lot of that's who I work with. They come to me and say, "Hey, listen, this thing is growing beyond what I know what to do. I don't know.
yeah.
Who do I hire? When do I hire them? I think I know what I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
I've never hired before,
Yeah.
or I've hired before, it has not gone well. I've not done a great job. Now I'm terrified."
Yeah.
And I think every person we add to our small business is just so crucial.
So
The
true.
other side of that then is we have to grow as a leader because now we have people looking to us to
Yes.
set the tone. They're looking to us for direction. They're looking to us to help them create accountability and really own the work.
Yeah.
So we need to have a strategic approach to how we're hiring and how we're organizing these people. And we
Yeah.
need to up our leadership game at the same time.
How
That's
do you do that? I'm really curious. Like, what do you do for that?
well, thank you for asking. No, I mean, I could talk about this could be a very long podcast. I mean, the two things go hand in hand. You can't have a next level team if you're not willing to be a next level leader. But one of
Yes.
the first things you need to do is actually spend some time working on your business, not in it. And you need to have a very simple but pretty clearly articulated people strategy.
Yeah.
So, what are your vision, mission, and values? How do those show up in terms of behaviors, right? How do you show integrity? How do you show that value add piece, right? How are you going to do that? How are people in your business going to do that? And then you can really think about, okay, who are the right people and what are the roles? What are the activities I'm going to need them to do?
Yeah.
Well, when you start to sort through that from the 50,000-foot view, you can really examine how you want to add the talent, when you want to add it, and what value they're going to bring. Because ultimately, we want them to drive business in some way.
Yes.
That, that could be that, the role is an admin role that takes stuff off your plate so that you can do more business development or you can be more present in your community,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's one part of it. And you manage that very carefully. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be well articulated.
Strategic too. Yeah.
right? And strategic. Because if you want to accomplish that business goal, that revenue goal, you got to be able to align the talent to help you do that. Because as
Yeah.
you said, you can't do it all yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
And
The
I think
response was so
investing,
magical.
yeah, and I think understanding that you need to invest in time, in
Yes.
resources
Yes.
to get there, and that's always
Yeah.
scary. I also
Yeah.
for women who are scaling, like, oh my
Yes.
God, it's going to cost me so much money. Okay, is it though?
No.
Is it? Because what are you saying yes to by saying yes to this? And then what do you get to say no to by
Yeah.
saying yes to this, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
not even saying no to, but saying, yes, someone else can do this.
That's it, exactly. Like I get to say no to this because I can give this to team
Yes.
employee. And I get to say yes to more time in nature, which is more creativity, which is more time to be with my community and be present,
Yes.
and more time for my health and more time like all of the things. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not talking here. I mean, because this is scary. And I think that's a great way to put it. It's terrifying
Yeah.
because you have to let go.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
let go. You
You have
have
to
to
trust,
delegate,
and you have to trust.
trust. And
Yeah.
so that does mean you have to lead. We manage tasks, we lead people. And so that's the tricky combination is that we're used to managing the task. Now
Love
we give
that.
up.
We say that again.
Yeah.
We manage.
Manage tasks and we lead
Yes.
people. And
Yes.
so
That's
when
good.
we step back from managing the task directly, that is a different skill set. Leadership is a different skill set. And so not only do we require a little bit of training, but also we have to first and foremost understand, who are we as a leader? How do we want to show up? What
Yeah.
does that mean in terms of our behavior and ultimately our impact? And so this
Yes.
is what I mean. The two things have to go together.
Yeah.
And I see it a lot where women, they hire people, but they don't
Oh,
move.
yeah.
They don't shift and
Yeah.
change. That's really tricky because you hamstring your business.
And I think one of the first things that I know that I see female founders hire, they want to hire out their social media. That
Yeah,
is literally the first thing that they want to let go of.
yeah.
And in my opinion, it is the last thing that you should be letting go of.
I love that. Why do you say that?
Because you are the heartbeat of your business. Your
100%.
voice, your authenticity needs to come through. People are buying because of you. You need to make more time to grow your confidence and comfortability on being on camera, of being the face of your business. You are your brand.
Yeah.
Now, when you start to really grow and really have a team,
Yeah.
you can step back, but I'm telling you that your business is going to take a hit when they don't hear from you. Still need to be, whether that becomes you do
Yeah.
more speaking engagements or you're out there in a different way. You still, all of the big brands that we follow, all of the people, they're still showing up as them. But it is the first thing that women want to let go of. And it
Totally.
is, in my opinion, the last thing you need to think about. Again, like you said,
Yeah.
take the 50,000-foot view,
Yeah.
figure out what's going on, find out where the holes are, where are the energy
Yeah.
leaks,
Where are the gaps?
where are those energy vampires being let go.
Yeah.
Figure out how you can like plug those holes and do it in a way that still allows you to be in control of the narrative of your business,
I
because
love
no one is going to sell it like you can sell it.
I love the way you said that, the narrative of your business. It's one of the pieces. So I do this people strategy accelerator program. I take
Mhm.
women for a half a day. We go deep on all the things. And one of the pieces of that is, what do you want to do? What are you really passionate about? What's the work that you really deeply love? What would you never, ever want to give up? Right? Because I think even as we grow our businesses, there's still things that just really give us incredible joy and fulfillment.
Yep.
On
Yep.
the other hand, it's
Identifying those non-negotiables. It's
right.
huge.
It's
Yes.
huge. And you are the brand. You're right. You are the heart and soul.
Mhm.
What's the stuff you really don't like doing?
Yeah,
How do we make sure that that gets done? Right?
exactly.
Okay, so we'll put a pin in that. And then we'll talk about, okay, what's the work that maybe isn't your pride and joy, but
Yeah.
you need to be doing or be present in? And then how do we help you do that in a way that isn't an energy vampire, to use your
Yeah.
phrase? I love that,
Yeah.
because that keeps a female founder at the heart of her business.
Yeah.
Because I think that is one of the scaries, is that we feel as we grow like we have to give it up. You don't
Yeah.
have to give it up,
Right.
but You couldn't do it all even if you were an octopus.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
just
you have
not
to
enough hours
prioritize.
in the day.
Yeah. And I think that, understanding that social media is still the first thing that you want to give, because you might be, sitting there listening and thinking, hey, yeah, but I don't want to do social media. Like, I hate it. Like, it's not my thing. I'm not good at. What I would argue is that actually you're looking at it the wrong way.
Yeah,
What
totally.
you need, if you really took that 10,000-foot view and say, well, what is it about social media that I want to give up? It's that you're not confident.
Yes.
Guess what? There are lots of people that sell confidence at the very, very bottom of what I do. Like, people say to me, what is it? Like, I teach you how to use Instagram as a growth engine to monetize your business. What I really do is I sell confidence.
Yeah, I
I
think
help
you're right.
you understand how you can show up
Yep.
authentically, fully, and more present so that you feel good about it. And
Yep.
that's where you have to make that shift and then really go, okay, yeah, that's true. Now, what is it that I need to give up?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I'm that person, right? I don't want to do all the social media. I'm still the heart of the message. I have
Yes.
someone that helps me execute,
Yeah.
right? So there's
Yeah, so do I. Oh my
right?
gosh, I'm not saying that I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
absolutely do,
yeah,
but I am the
yeah.
person who drives the bus.
Yes, yes. The message has to come from you because that's where people see and feel that passion, that expertise, that real deep love for who you serve and what you do there for them.
Yeah.
So yes, you can have someone help you execute it. In fact, having the right person help you do that will amplify the message,
Oh, and it also amplifies your sales, by the way,
right?
just because she can get to things that I just can't get to and do not have the capacity to do that.
A
I
hundred
would
percent.
literally, I don't know what I would do without my assistant that I use. I no idea. Like, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to not at the rate I'm growing. I would never be able to stay on top of everything. I would miss so much. And
so
that
much.
would make me feel awful.
Well, I want to give a shout out to my assistant, Jamie, because she is the human that makes this podcast possible. I, at this point, am purely decorative. She does all the hard, I'm just the talent, as they say.
Yeah.
She literally does all the hard things to make this podcast a
That's
reality.
leadership right there.
Right.
Right there. That's leadership.
And I have delegated that to her. I have high trust.
Yes.
And she has complete ownership and has proven over and over again that she cares as much about this show as I do, among other things, right? She
Yeah.
does other stuff for me. I
Yeah.
think, back to your original point, that this is about how we perceive and feel about ourselves. We have to feel the confidence. And when you have the head trash, when you are trash talking yourself, when you are in the space where it's perfect or it's nothing, where you are in the space where you have to touch every single thing because you feel like if you're not in control, you're out of control. When you feel those things like it's never good enough,
Yeah.
that's the work that is absolutely central to growing a truly valuable and
Mhm.
fulfilling business. And you're nodding because I know you get this. And that is exactly it. If those are the feelings you're having, that there's a place where you need to go and do that work so you can lead effectively, especially as you grow and scale. That's
Yeah.
just, I mean, that's key.
It's totally key. It's there's no other there for about every, I'm going to say quarterly, I go on either a solo business retreat or with one or two other women who are at least at my level or above. There's the key. Make sure they are at least at your level or above, because if they're not, you will be doing and because I can say this confidently because I've done it, you are the one that props everybody up, and actually you leave more depleted because you've given everything instead of being able to give and receive the whole time.
100%.
uh and it is probably one of it is my most protected and most cherished times that I do, and I am so grateful for all of the women that I have been able to partner with over the years and
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this. But yes, there's lots of ways to do it. And
yeah.
I have a coach. Like, again, like, I believe, I mean, I guess that's the other thing. We also have to walk the walk, right? Like,
You
we
bet.
also need to invest in ourselves to invest in our people. And
Yes.
no better way to do that.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I always have at least one coach that I am working with. And then my best friend is also a coach. And I'll tell you, nobody nails me to the wall
Yeah.
like my BFF does. And if
Same,
I know
same.
I really need coaching,
Yeah.
And I know I really
Yes.
need I need somebody to give me the business. That's
Yeah.
who I call.
Yeah.
And I'm not just a coach because I love the coaching. I am a coach because I know the transformational change it makes for people. I see it every day and I do my own work and I feel it. And so I know that's a bit of a shameless plug for coaching, but like it is.
Oh, no, it's so powerful. It's so incredible. It's funny when you meet people, like I'm just thinking about like the membership that I launched, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking I have an onboarding call with like, and I
yeah,
keep it to only 4 women, so that everybody gets a little bit of my time. And some of the coaching that happen, and they've never experienced it before. They've never really truly, they think a coach is someone who, props you up and cheers you on. And I'm asking these
yeah,
really powerful questions. Like they don't understand what true, I mean, we could do a whole podcast
yeah.
on that. The amount of people
We
out there that
might
are,
have to.
I'm calling, putting it in air quotes, like what is coaching? Because it is astounding to me the people, that's what they think a coach does. And they walk away and they're all of them say, oh my, like book yourself in, like you've got to experience this. Like, it is the transformation that we can evoke just by asking a question.
Well, but you and I come from the same background, right? We're both CTI trained coaches. And just to be clear, CTI is the Coactive Training Institute. It is one of the top coach training programs in the world.
Yeah.
It is closely aligned with the ICF,
Yeah.
which is the leading coach certification program in the world. If you find a coach that comes out of CTI and then is ICF certified, they are the top like 1% of coaches in the world.
Yeah.
And they are the real deal. They're not just in it to make money. They do it because it's a passion. That's what makes Krista so powerful is that she combines this incredible transformational coaching with the how to. That's what makes her awesome. I like to think it's the same for me. The transformational coaching with how to create a people strategy and be a great leader that's going to build your business and send it through the roof. That's the difference here. And I
Yeah.
want to point that out because I'm a bit of a coaching snob. Like I
Well,
think,
like I can remember, like if you go, like we would have a lot of, like when I was really just doing a lot of coaching, we had a lot of, ICF Atlantic,
yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah,
the International Coach Federation. I don't think we
yeah,
actually said that. So
yeah,
we would have a lot of events,
yeah,
and you could go to the room. I would be able to literally look around the room, and I could pick out the CTI coaches. I didn't even have to know that they were CTI coaches. I was just like, yep, you're trained CTI. Yes, you are. You can pick them out even at a global event. I've gone to a
yeah,
global conference before.
yeah,
You can pick out the CTI. You can also see the Royal Roads people. I will absolutely give
yeah.
credit to Royal Roads as well.
Good.
You can see them. It is unmistakable. And then the ones that do leadership through the coactive training net, like
Yeah,
then
that's the
just
model I use.
yeah.
That's the model I use when I actually work with coaches and when I do, I mean, I do leadership and organizational development, and that's always at the heart. And I want to articulate. So one of the most important things about being a CTI coach is that we approach every client we have that they're naturally creative, resourceful, and whole.
On whole.
And what that means is that when we're working with you as a client, you don't need to be fixed. We're not
No.
smarter than you are.
Yeah.
We know that you have the ability to find the answer, or you already have it within you, and we're just there to guide you.
For the
That's all we
catalyst.
do. We're
That's
walking
it.
beside you.
Yeah.
We aren't smart. It's not about our 12-step program or our, 16 levels. Now, do Krista and I have skills and experience that maybe you don't? Yes, absolutely. But we offer that in a
As a
way that,
mentor, as a
yes,
mentor, we step out of coach
yes,
role in those moments,
yeah,
and we either do consulting or we do
yes,
mentoring. But when we're stepping out of coach role, we also ask permission to step out of
yes.
coach role. Hey, client, I actually have some insight I'd love to share with you in this moment. Are you okay if I maybe share that with you? And you actually articulate that. And most coaches are literally just throwing, well, I'm saying that, and I'm saying in the
Air
online space,
quotes. Yes,
business coaches are throwing tactics and things
yeah.
at you, and they're not truly embodying the essence of what we know, as Lindsay and I, call it to be coaching.
Well, and I think we offer it in a way that's here's what we know. Here's
Yes.
what we see that works. Take this and use this in a way that's meaningful for you. And we
Yeah.
will walk the path with you as
Yeah.
you integrate and you develop and grow your
Yeah.
confidence, your ability. It's
Yeah.
not about us. And
Yeah.
that's what I love. And I think that makes us more powerful experts and consultants because that's exactly how we offer it.
Absolutely. And I think that that's
Love
the
it.
magic. Like, that's the thing. When you can get that person who has deep experience in the modality or in the thing that you're interested in, and they're also trained as a coach to help you find your own answers. Because what works for some, that's the competition thing, right? What works for someone is not going to work for someone else, might not work for you. You don't have the same audience, you don't have the same issues, you don't have the same life experiences. Like, all of those things come into play, which is why coaching is such an powerful, impactful model when it's truly done in pure form. And when you can augment that with real life experiences of someone,
Yes,
that's where the catalyst comes from.
that's where the magic happens, as they say.
Yes. Oh my
Um,
gosh. This has been
oh,
so fun.
I
We could chat all day, I think.
this could be a three-part episode.
Yes.
So thank you so very much. We're going to put some of Krista's magic into the show notes so that you can connect with her. She's got some amazing offers. And so we're going to make sure there's links to those. I'm also going to throw in there the link to my People Strategy Playbook. So that's
Yes.
my free offer so that you can go and actually walk through the steps that I take my clients through in the playbook, and you can then start to think more strategically about what is my strategy for the people as I grow and scale this business. It's such a critical time. So we're going to put that all in the show notes for you. Krista, holy moly, you just made my whole day better with this conversation. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. I'm so inspired. And now I have a topic to actually bring to my membership call this afternoon. So I'm really excited about that because this is an important conversation and I always forget to bring it up. We need to talk about all of the things that can move us ahead, and understanding the true power of coaching is massive.
It really is. It
Taking
really
those targeted timeouts, like making sure that you're taking the time, like protecting time to think about the how you need to do business and how you're growing, especially if you're in a season of scaling. It's
One of my
huge.
first coaches said that to me. You got to work in your business, but you got to work on your business. And that has stuck with me over the years.
Yeah.
And I think, that I mean, there's 1,000 things to take away because, again, Krista has offered more value than anyone I know. But when are you working on your business? When are you working on yourself?
Yeah.
Think about those questions. Send us a note. Either one of us. You can find us on
Yeah.
Instagram. Tell us how you're doing that. Thank you again, my friend. It's just been such an incredible pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Have an amazing day.
You too. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Female Founder Unplugged podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I did hosting this conversation. I feel so lucky that I get to connect with such amazing female entrepreneurs. And if you enjoyed today's session, would you do me a big favor? Would you hit subscribe and give this episode a 5-star review? I'd also love it if you would share with your friends. We've got a goal here at the Female Founder Unplugged podcast to impact 1,000 female founders. And with your help, we can really amplify the message. Thanks again for being a part of the show. And don't forget to connect with me at highvoltageleadership.ca. We'll see you next week.